What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Remember that show? It's the Good Smoke Show. What's going on? I've got the infamous, the dynamite Romeo Georges. What's going on, Romeo? Everyone knows him.
Just taking a bit of a break. Firstly, hi guys. How are you, Eddie? How you been, mate?
Good,
All
mate.
well?
And I really appreciate you coming on again. A lot of people have asked for you and really appreciate your words. And I thought today, since you're a man of connecting people, getting people into action, making moves in the background, I thought a man in the background that's been doing it for a long time, over 10 years or more, Ricky Herrera from Swag Family. What's up, Ricky?
Good evening, guys. Hey, how are you? Look, it's a pleasure to be here tonight. I'm actually probably relieved that I finally got a chance to talk to the brother as well, Romeo. I just want to say, love your work, mate. Love the message you've been putting out there. It's from the heart, regardless whether people agree or not. I really believe that your heart's in the right place, and you know, you, Craig Kelly, Australian Party. God bless you guys, man. Like for standing up for us anyway. But we'll talk more about that as we get on.
Trust me. You've been. Uh, I've done nothing compared to what you've done. Even Craig Kelly himself has done nothing compared to what you've been doing for the last 10 years, and we'll talk about it through like tonight. And yeah, so trust me. I'm humbled by your words, but I'm nothing compared to what. Who you are and what you've done, mate. It's massive. It's absolutely massive.
Guys,
Bless
I really appreciate you guys coming on. I think this is really a good connection right here because I think Romeo's got a lot of people's ears at the moment, and I think Ricky's got the hard yards, the experience, and really he knows what's going on in the streets. And I think tonight he's going to go through, especially through this time of these lockdowns and stuff, what's really been happening. But there's a lot of new followers here, and a lot of Romeo's followers as well. And just can you give us a quick like overrun on what you do? Like quickly how you started it and why you started, and we'll go from there.
Me,
No, Ricky, sorry.
Ricky, yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just listening to. I thought I was up for you or for me.
No,
Anyway,
no, no.
no. Well, listen, guys. About 10 years ago, I hit tough times myself. I hit a battle where my building company collapsed. I faced homelessness with my family and my newborn, my little Orlando. Um, was in in the tummy, ready to be born, and we found ourselves in a situation where we couldn't get any help. We were actually, for the first time in like 20 years, I found myself homeless again. Now, and I think that was the beginning of, I guess, trying to make a difference without looking at my circumstance and feeling sorry for myself. I got together, I remember, with my wife at the time, and my kids, and we decided that we could make a difference out there. That, we might have hit tough times, but there are people out there that have really got nobody to turn to, no family, no support. And 30 years ago, believe it or not, 30 years ago, the seed was planted in me. I was homeless. I was about 18, 19 years old, and a lovely lady by the name of Eunice Brown took me in and didn't even know me, took me into a place with her kids and sort of guided me. But she guided me with her love, didn't judge me. And her and the family, they would take me to church with them on a Sunday, and we'd sit down and they'd talk about the gospel and talk about love and guidance. But from there, we started to reach out to the community. Once I got back on my feet again, I was committed to helping her reach the community from Macquarie Fields all the way through to Wollongong, Port Kembla, Central Coast. There's nowhere that we haven't been, from Queenstown and Melbourne, so on, right? I've been all the way to Cooper Pedy, Mount Isa, and like I'm just saying, different ends of the street where to reach the people that have been forgotten. Our Indigenous brothers, the families that have been put into, I guess, the poverty sector of society. And when I say that, I don't want to discriminate anyone, but unfortunately, when you talk about housing developments and so on, where people are living in housing, we hit a different type of people that have been isolated from feeling like they can actually get somewhere or make it in this world, you know. So from there, we sort of hit the streets, and my children came with me. And one day we rocked up to Martin Place in Sydney. We drove around the whole city, and I stopped and I talked to a brother called Lance. Now, I don't know if you know Lance Presley. He set up that tent city back years ago when they put the homeless in the city. And anyway, so I just asked him questions. I said, brother, listen, what services come out here? I didn't want to reinvent the wheel, so I wasn't there to reinvent the wheel. I just said, look, are they getting proper food? Are they getting clothed? Are they getting what happens when winter hits them, you know, and so on. And when he sort of opened my eyes to what was happening, I decided to go with my kids. We just found a rental property that week, and we decided, you know what? I made some pasta because I love to cook. So I was sitting in the kitchen, I made some pasta, and I thought I was going to go out to the streets to feed maybe 10 or 20 people. I didn't know what we were going to see. And when I got out to the streets, I remember with my kids, we set up the table, and by the time I looked up, there was 300-400 people.
Wow.
And I remember looking at my kids, and my older boy at the time, he was only about 15, 14, maybe 13, 14. He goes, Dad, we haven't got enough food for everybody. What are we going to do? And unbelievable how God works. And I don't know how people are with their faith and so on, but we had Fox Studio van rock up, which I didn't even know. We didn't know these people, and said they had a massive function and they had all this food left over. And I just stood there and I said, brother, you come to the right place, because I'm just about to get attacked if I don't have enough food out here. So from that day on, we stepped out, and we only wanted to help like the homeless that were in need, so on, right? And from that little beginning, we have done, you know, dinners, breakfasts, the list goes on, from Liverpool to Port Kembla, Wollongong, you know. But I think that the most important thing was the fact that God put on my heart to go out and really reach out to these people. And that's pretty much where we've been now. And feel free to cut in if you want to ask me any other questions as I go, because the problem with me is I've got so much I like to share, you know what I mean? That I'll just keep going. But
well, my next question was going to be, what does SWAG family stand for? Let people know what SWAG family stand for.
Well, SWAG family stands for Salvation with Almighty God. So we tried to combine, like, the word swag, as I don't know if people know that, but back in the country towns, they use swags when they're out camping and so on to sleep in. It's like a little tent, and we sort of tried to incorporate that with the homeless. So, you know, obviously they're on the streets, and the Salvation with Almighty God was when we originally started as SWAG Ministries Sydney, and I don't know if you'd seen some of the videos or not, but we used to hold, after the second year, we held like a homeless concerts for the homeless. So we get groups from all over the state, people, singers. We had choirs of like 200-300 people, unbelievable. And everything was free. So everything was free. It was, so food, supplies, toys, gifts, the food stands were free for anyone. So not just the homeless. If you were there with your family, we got you to eat with us. Yeah. So this was all about getting out to the people. And one day we did this homeless carols, and a couple of the homeless people came up. They wanted to share and thank everybody for being there. And one of them said, you know, this is my family. One of them said, this is my family. Said that, you know, if it wasn't for us being there for them, that they wouldn't have felt a part of anything. And it just hit me there and then, you know, from that day on, we changed the name to Swag Family Sydney, because, you know, we want to try to bring people together without no judgment, okay, with no judgment. Now, I'll talk a little bit more about the questions I get asked the most, but we're going to get into this. And you got to let me know when to stop too, Eddie. Like you
Yeah,
said,
I'll
man.
go. I'll get into the questions now. I'll start asking you something. So I just wanted to make it clear for everybody that's listening as well that Rick, like you might see these other donation places like I don't know, St. Vincent de Paul's or Salvation Army, but the difference with this with Ricky is doing it 100% on his own initiative. Everything it's his own van. People donate to him. He has no government grants. He has no one like some big funder or financer behind him. It's literally by donation. Whoever wants to help or anyone that wants to volunteer, they just come down. So this is like I think is the most critical part, because during this time, Ricky hasn't had the trouble of him being closed down. Like he hasn't been put off the streets like these other people because of this COVID stuff. He's his own man, so he's done his own initiative. So during this COVID time, right, you've been going on the street, and there's been a lot of suspicious activities happening out there. And I think you've seen it firsthand because you're on the front line. Let's go from the beginning of COVID, what you're seeing with the homeless. Because the one thing that I noticed was that COVID, it didn't really affect the homeless. Like no one was really dropping dead on the floor or anything from the homeless that was happening there. But it would seem like, you know, people in houses or in shopping centers would, and the homeless was never spoke about. So let's go through that. Like what happened with COVID? How did it
Okay,
affect you?
well, let me give you an example. When the COVID first hit our shores, nobody knew what it was, right? Nobody knew. We just knew that there was a pandemic. They shut the country down for the first time, and I wasn't even sure what was going to happen, because I thought, oh, well, if they're locking everybody down, we do from here, right? And sorry, I just had somebody try to call. So what happened was we hit the streets and then realised that all the services had stopped. So all these bigger services, Vinny, Salvos, Mission Australia, all stopped instantly. Okay. And I thought, how are we going to get to these? I said, what happens to the homeless? Everybody had to isolate. We all got told not to go out. And these guys are on the streets. Like I was thinking to myself, how do we help these fellas now? Like we're telling everybody, don't come out, don't go here. But we've got thousands of people on the streets. Where do they isolate? They closed the public toilets. They closed the showers. They closed the facilities where they'd go to get their clothes washed if they needed to. So they had nothing open for them. So you could imagine what it was like being on the streets, especially not having anywhere where you could regularly go to get food and so on, okay? Now, what they did was they closed all the big refuges that have shared showers, shared rooms, because, you know, you have the social distance, right? So what they did is they closed all these places up, and they took a handful and they put a few in the motels, right? Now, in all the time that we were on the streets at that worst, so it was 120 days that we did every single day on the streets, right?
Yeah.
So 120 days, not one single homeless got sick, not one single homeless fella got infected, not one single homeless fella ended up in hospital. But what happened was we saw something beautiful happen, in the sense that we had businesses that weren't able to open, like Satini's, Italian Bowl, Chicken Ace, all get together, Cup and Cook down there and thing, all get together and decide they were going to cook for us. And they cook 200 to 300 meals a night. We took out in 120 days nearly 65,000 meals. Now you think about the extent. That means individually bagging the meals, taking them out, and I couldn't take all my volunteers with us because we were limited to how many people we could take, right?
Right.
But what I do want to say is that
Hey, Ricky.
this time round, when the
Ricky.
lockdown happened, so you think about we had the lockdown last year, and this time, what they did was they offered a few of the homeless, about 30% of the homeless, temporary accommodation in the motels. Okay. Look what happened, but they take 60 homeless fellas, ladies that were on the streets, put them in the motel, and within 2 weeks, 30 of them tested positive for COVID.
Far out.
30 of them, right? So they take them out of the motel, they put him in quarantine, they put him in a different motel somewhere. But these guys were in contact with me every day, calling me up, talking to me on the phone. Did you know not one of them had a headache, not even signs of the flu? I'm not saying this to write off that there's something out there. What I'm saying is they were not one of them got sick. Not one of them ended up in hospital. They all ended up back out on the streets. Okay, just last week they were all released again, right? So either the homeless have an immune system that's far beyond what we can imagine, okay, or something was just didn't sit right with me, because out of all the homeless that were put in motels, they've all started to come back out on the streets now, slowly started to come back out on the streets. And a lot of the reason for that is because they weren't getting food supplied to the place. So they put them in a motel and then they didn't supply any food. So they put you in a motel to isolate you, but you still got to come out to the streets to get food. It didn't make sense, right? So all these things were sort of catered for. So unfortunately, I've seen the reason that I don't take the grants, the reason I don't, like I run a handyman business, right? That's how I get my bread and butter. That's how I've got my two boys here. My daughter, my granddaughter live with me in the same apartment. And, you know, we live day by day, right? So we're you're everyday Australians. Well, when it's good, it's good. When it's bad, right?
Yeah.
But unfortunately for these guys on the streets, it's bad, and it's bad every day. It's bad not just today, not just tomorrow. It gets to the point that even if you didn't have an addiction, if you didn't have an addiction to alcohol or ice or so on, what happens is the depression hits you, the anxiety hits you, the mental struggles just to get up every day is a battle. And, you know, there is no fixed solution for these guys. Do you understand? Like, they don't need somebody to take you. Like, if you're on the streets, Romeo, and I picked you up and I take them off the streets, I put them in the motel, right, for a couple of nights or whenever we can afford to, right? We take the elderly, we put them in there, we get them nice clothes, we get them cleaned up, but we sit with them. We go there every day. We talk with them, see how they're doing. What the government system has been doing is they take you, for example, and say, Romeo, we found a place for you over at this place. Well, we don't ask you where you want to go. We tell you where you're going to go, okay? And then we put you in this place, but we leave you there, Romeo, and we don't check up to see how you're doing. And we don't come to follow up to see whether you need anything, whether you're okay. So what happens to Romeo? He ends up back out on the streets in 2 months because he's isolated. He's been by himself for 2 months now. You understand? Yeah. So they end up coming back on the streets. So the people need people. People need people, man, to walk alongside. People need people to be able to get through life. And by simply saying, that's just a bridge for us. That's a bridge. That doesn't fix anything. That breaks the heart, so we can actually talk to them and see where they're at. You know what I mean? But yeah, but that's what we've seen on the streets to date with the COVID on the streets. But what we've seen with families is phenomenal. What we've seen with families has been off the charts. Like,
In what way?
okay, with the domestic violence, with husbands being stuck at home every day, frustrated because they've lost their jobs, probably sitting at home most of the days, whatever the reason is for them being at home, it has been a nightmare for some of these families. Okay, when we first started, it was for homeless. That was our intention, to hit the homeless, right? Sorry, my granddaughter wanted to say hello. Hello.
Hello.
There. Hello, these lovely people. Hey, there we go. Sorry. I just thought I'd chuck her in there because otherwise, if I don't, she'll get upset.
That's the
Um,
future.
so what happened? We've been getting messages. It started off with a mother and baby sleeping in a car. Then it started off with another mother and two kids sleeping in a car. Then it started with three mothers. So we started looking at different refuges, right, to get help. Unfortunately, the system's not set up for mothers that have just come out of a relationship. Okay, I'll fill you in real quick. Mother leaves a relationship. She goes to Centrelink. Okay, she can't get help for 4 to 6 weeks because they've got to show that she's not getting any benefits. They've got to show that she's not getting payments from the ex. So she's got to try to live off what she has, but she hasn't taken anything from the relationship. Now she's got 4 to 6 weeks to try to organise what she's going to do with her kids and that, how to feed, how to support, whatever. But you can't go into a refuge unless you're receiving benefits. Okay? Now this is the thing that everybody just assumes.
So
That you
basically,
reach out on that, right?
no woman or child has any place of refuge if they just get up and run away from the domestic situation that they've got. They've got nowhere to go.
No, there's no. Look, if they haven't got entitlements, if they're not eligible for payments, there's none. It's 4 to 6 weeks to show that they're not getting any payments at all from their husbands or their ex-partners and so on. Okay, so that's the criteria. Now, don't get me wrong. It's probably because over the years people have left relationships and gone back to it, and then they've got double payments. I don't know, whatever the reason. Okay, but with the refuges that are being used, there are some beautiful refuges there. Probably just a handful of them that I could probably say to you, from Maroubra to Malabar and so on. They've only got enough room to cater for about 10 to 20 women. Okay. So we're talking about anywhere between 100 to 200 women a month.
Wow.
You know what I mean? With kids. So what we do is we've got a motel that we go and take food to on a daily basis. It's called the Fontainebleau. It's at Casula. We don't have anything to do with the motel, but what we do is we organise food for the people that have been put in there, right? So we organise the meals and so on to try to help the families that have ended up there and struggled, okay? And so what happens, the government will give them maybe 7 days, maybe give them 3 days, maybe give them 4 days, who knows how many days. And from there, we end up taking them and trying to see if we can help them not just get off the streets, but we'll try to get a bond together for a place. We'll find maybe a 2-bedroom or a 1-bedroom studio or a granny flat. We'll take the whole family. We'll make sure it's got all furniture, whatever it is, yeah, TVs, the basics, and then we'll organise. We'll do. I'll get people to pay directly to wherever it is. So I get people say you want to help out. I'll say, look, can you donate something towards her rent, for example, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And we try to help them that way until they get back on their feet. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And
What
So,
about the
that's
Ricky, yeah,
refuge?
huh?
What about the domestic violence refuge?
the refuges.
The
Uh,
are
yeah, I
they the
think,
Look,
same? You need to be on welfare.
look. Unfortunately, I tell you, Romeo, I didn't set out to look after families because I didn't think we'd be capable of looking after families, right? To the extent, I'll be honest with you, I was happy just to do food for the homeless, right?
Yeah.
So I
Sorry.
started calling up every department there was, to find out about, you know, refuges. I've got a couple of refuges that I've used, like there's a lady, Steph, that runs refuge for domestic violence. They've got counsellors and so on. But I've tried to use the bigger ones, and I'm not going to name them because I don't want to sit there and I don't want to brand anyone, right? I don't want to attack anyone, right? But I've turned to these services that the government has given me to use,
Mm-hmm.
and I kid you not, I've only been able to use the one in the last 3 years of this that we've been dealing with mothers, and I've only been able to use one for a couple of people, right? So unfortunately, that's the problem we're facing at the moment with domestic violence. But not just that, too, Romeo. Yesterday we had a father who's been tested positive for COVID, right? So tested positive, got told he had to isolate with his family, 3 kids. Lives week by week. Okay, so paycheck to paycheck. Got 3 kids. No family in Sydney, no family in Australia. Contacts us because it has no food for the kids for the 2 weeks that he's got to isolate. What do you do? What do you do? Like the effects are far beyond what we can see on the media. Do you understand? Like they they tell you to isolate, so the guy's doing the right thing according to their thing. So he isolates. Now, how does he feed his kids? What happens when the babies come up and they say, "Hey, we're hungry"? So he contacted us, and we were able to take food out to keep them going for a couple of weeks. You know what I mean? But that's the sort of stuff that we don't see. Can we say hello, son? Quick. Sorry, I've got all my kids who want to come out one by one to say, "G'day, this is
Hello.
my
hey mate, how
Benjamin."
are you? He
I'm
also
Helen.
goes on the street with you too. Well, his kids go out on the street and they help out with him
All
as
my
well.
kids, all my kids, my
Wow.
daughter, my granddaughter, my boys, like Orlando, come here. My Benjamin's been coming out since he was 2, but this little baby, like
What's up, Orlando?
the day that he was born, he was in my hands while I was making the barbecues, So I'd be cooking the barbecues on the streets. So all the people on the streets that you'll see today, they know my family, they know the kids, they love them to death. I've got amazing volunteers that have
Where
come.
where do you do the barbecues most times? What's
Oh
the
look, Martin Place, Sydney, Liverpool. We do barbecues, and look, we were doing Central Coast. Or Sister Eunice does Orange out that way, Dubbo. We were doing at one stage Swagalawarra, which was Wollongong. But my older boy, believe it or not, my older boy has volunteered for a church group out there and runs a soup kitchen in Wollongong on Thursday nights.
wow,
Oh, nice.
So
beautiful.
it's amazing. But my kids have grown up to be, I guess, look, everyone loves to say their kids are beautiful, right? I get it. My kids have been doing my head over the holidays, I'll be honest with you, and even with the lockdown, it's driving me nuts, believe me. But they are beautiful kids. They've got massive hearts, and I'm totally grateful for, if I go anywhere, they'll come with me. 2 in the morning, my kids will come with me, eh? My daughter, when she gets a night off without the baby, she's like, Dad, let's go out to the streets. Let's go take some sleeping bags. Let's go out there and talk to someone. Let's see if we can. So I
Are
guess
you
it's
out there?
pretty much in our life.
Are you out there every single night?
Look, pretty much every night. Up until probably 6, 7 months ago, I've cut back a couple of nights. I'm on call 24 hours, 7 days a week, right? So anybody contacts, messages, asks for food, family or suicidal, we're there. Okay. It doesn't matter what time. If I'll get a message 2 in the morning and you'll see me jump in the van and just drive out. You know what I mean? I'll pick them up. I'll take them to a motel. We'll try to organise a bit of support just to get their mind off the circumstance they're in. Right? We've all got our own personal battles. Okay. We face daily, whether it's work, whether it's family, whether it's whatever. But unfortunately, I was saying to Eddie before we started, in the last 5, 6 years, I've been the next of kin for over 50 people on the streets. Okay,
Wow.
that means they end up in hospital, and my kids can vouch for this. Like they can tell you, they've pushed them around in the wheelchairs. They've gone out there. They've spent month in, month out until they pass away.
Yeah. Well.
So it's not something I think people don't realise. Look, I just want to really just sort of say something that really close to my heart here. Everybody assumes that people make that decision to become homeless. Okay, like a lot of people message me and say, "Why are there homeless in Australia?" Right. So I just want to just a couple of things first. Right. First, if you've got nowhere to live, you do not get a payment from Centrelink. You understand? No address, no payment. Just want to just sort of touch on that. Second of all, some of these people, that's what my boy was saying, New Zealanders after 2002 are not entitled to any benefits whatsoever. So if you're from New Zealand and you came after 2002, you're not entitled to a single payment. Okay. Third, you can imagine what it's like. Nobody just gets up in the morning and says, I want to be an ice addict. Nobody just gets up in the morning and says, I want to be a prostitute. You know, I went to school with my little fella, and all the kids in kindergarten got up and said what they wanted to be when they got older. Okay. Every single kid got up, and one kid said, I want to be a footy player. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a pilot. I want to be a policeman. I want to be, and we'll talk about police in a sec. I want to be a policeman, and I want to be a firefighter. And all of a sudden, something happens, bro. They don't, a family breakdown. They get told that they're no good. They don't have the support. They mix in with the wrong crowds, and they end up in a circumstance where they don't feel worthwhile, right? And for most of the people, what they don't understand is when I had my family, I used to foster kids. I used to foster kids. I grew up without a dad, right? So I grew up without a father. I've never had that father support to sit there and say, "Hey, son, do this and do that." My mum did the best she could, right? But I was a bit of a rat bag I was a rat bag of a kid, right? If anyone did anything that would drive anyone nuts, you wouldn't believe it. I was in nearly every newspaper by the time I hit 10 years old. I had damaged everything, right? I was one of them kids that I just did things, right?
Mischief.
But eventually we got to the place where I had a family and we wanted to be a blessing to other kids. So we started fostering kids. And to this day, they're still in contact with me. To this day, they still call me dad. Hey, they still call me dad, uncle. Yeah, 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 Baba. So what I'm trying to say is, okay, okay. I'm a granddaughter. She's unbelievable. But what I was going to say was 42% of the people that are on the streets have been through the foster care system, okay? Which means they, from the day they were born, they were abandoned or taken from their families.
Hey, Ricky, say that again. Say that start again.
Okay, about 42% of the homeless on the streets have been through the foster care system, okay?
All right. So
Which
almost
means
half
that,
the people.
so that's pretty big, right? Now, that means
That's
that they've been
that's
rejected as kids, right? From the day that they get into a family, they get comfortable with a family, they get moved to another family. They might get abused from that family. They might get who knows how they're treated in the families they go to. But the average life of somebody going through the homeless system is 6 to 7 families. Okay? And then you're going to ask that person to fit into society when you don't even feel like you're worth anything?
yeah.
Really? Could you imagine if somebody woke up? I couldn't imagine what it would look. I used to feel sorry for myself not having my dad, not have, and I was like a super athlete. I loved running, loved sport, loved training, right? But never having my father at any of my footy games, my soccer games, my bouts or nothing, right? And I remember standing there, and I see everyone come up and their fathers, and I was already feeling a bit left out, right?
Yeah.
But I still had a mother. I still had a mother that would cook for me. I still had a mother that did the best she could for me, right? But somewhere along the line, you know, I I personally have seen domestic violence to its fullest, like badly. I'm talking about from the age of 10 till about the age of 16. It was so bad that seeing my mother attacked and so on. So all these things affect a person when they're growing through, getting through life.
Mm,
They all affect us. You know what I mean?
mm.
And anyway, the thing is, these people that we see on the street, maybe instead of us looking at them like ice addicts, drug addicts, mentally not well, maybe we look at them through the eyes of love, brokenness, compassion, a bit of empathy, and maybe just for once, put yourself in that person's shoes. Just put yourself in that person. Imagine waking up with nobody to talk to, Romeo. Like, think about it. Like, imagine waking up and not having your kids. How many kids do you have, bro?
3.
3. Yeah, well, there you go. You're blessed, right? You're blessed. Come on, man.
I am.
It's something to be blessed about, right? Imagine waking up and not having your kids come up and say, "We love you, Dad," or having a wife. Look, I did have a wife for 20 years, and I've got a beautiful partner at the moment. Yeah, and the thing is, not everybody gets to experience that. Do you understand? Not everyone gets that love and affection, so they don't really know what it's like to be accepted. And this COVID, this lockdown period has been honestly a nightmare for so many families. And if anything, I want to leave tonight 100%. Guys, get behind the brother Romeo, get behind Craig Kelly, get behind these people that are actually, you know, I know you said that you don't feel like you've done as much as what I do on the streets. I get it. I do. I'm a man of action with everything I do, right? But what you don't realize, brother, is that you put yourself in the front line and you get all the attacks. You get all the negativity. You get all the people that think, you know, you shouldn't be saying this. You shouldn't be standing up. And then you don't realize the silent voices that are sitting back saying, I'm glad that somebody stood up for me. I'm glad that somebody stood up for me because, I've always been against bullies, right? I've always been against bullies. I don't like people discriminating people on the streets. I don't like people discriminating color, race. I've never liked any of that. But you're standing up. You guys are standing up for the people.
Look, Ricky, thanks for that. But the truth is this: I want everybody to get behind you, because
Well,
if they get behind you, I mean, I'm just sitting here thinking now about that 42% that you said. That's 42%, 50%. That's it's the same thing. We're talking about half, you know, a lot of homeless people out there. And what you're doing, mate, it's better than any politician. It's better than anything I've ever done. Uh, and no, I don't want people to follow me. I want people to follow you. I want
well,
people. I want you to take. Mate, nobody seems to understand or appreciate the fact that one night off the street in a warm bed
Mm,
can allow that person to live happy, even if he sleeps another week outside on the grass.
oh,
exactly.
100%.
Yeah.
So if you're able to
100%.
a family 1 week of just a warm bed and four walls and a roof above their head, they could survive for another month of knowing that what you're doing is incredible. And with I'm truly humbled by your words. But if I could give a message to my supporters, stop supporting me and start supporting Ricky.
No,
Not
but I
stop.
think I think it's a powerhouse when both of yous are together. That's what I'm trying to say. See, you know how you were talking in our last interview, Romeo, where you talk about I want people that want experience, that have experience. I want people that have the expertise. I don't want some guy that's a health minister doing road or traffic ministry or whatever it is. I want somebody that has the actual eyes on the street, hands on the street, actually knows the people, have relationship. And I think this now is like the best connection because the
Mate,
next thing
Rick,
to happen.
put your candidacy, become a candidate. I'm not joking. Become a candidate in the party. Become a member and then fill out the candidate form.
Well,
Because you're
I'll definitely look at.
If anybody's going to be in charge of housing,
mm,
I think
mm,
it's somebody like you. Okay, because um, you you've got the experience, and you can tell the con artists from the
yeah,
people that legitimately need help.
Well, well, well. That's something that 100% we'll talk more on for sure. Because for me personally, if I could bring a positive impact, now I'd do it out of my heart. I would never. I wouldn't do it for work, right? I do it because it's something that I'm passionate about. Okay. Um, for me
But
personally,
your advice will be invaluable
exactly.
to
yeah,
to a politician that's, for example, the elected candidate in the area of Maroubra or you know uh, um, Redfern or City.
Mm,
You're the type of person that candidate or that elected official, he should be talking to you like, Ricky, how can we get these people off the streets? I've got
well,
the contacts, like as in he would say to you, I've got the political contacts, I can get that, but you know these people, you can give him advice on how to work. I mean, that's
mm.
that's what he's been doing.
the one thing that I've been trying to say for years is that the government have been putting money into organisation. Let me tell you, they've been putting quite a bit of money into different sectors. Okay, unfortunately, they don't really follow where it goes. So they're not actually. They're happy to give you something and just sort of, there we go. We've done our part. Take it away, right? But what we've tried to do over the years, and Eddie's been following for a long time now, and
Mm.
is that we try to get people involved. Okay, so I try. We had somebody look. Let me give you an example. Last year, my van was on the way out. Like this is November last year, right? So the van that I purchased, I'd been running like my handyman business to work on the streets. Had carked it, gone. and I couldn't afford to fix it regardless. Like it was like $5,000-6,000. I thought, yeah, done. So I was doing a dinner at Woolloomooloo, and then realised that I couldn't keep going. Right, the van stopped,
Yep.
this and that, and I was ready to finish up. So I just finished telling all my volunteers. I said, guys, we're done. We're done. I can't do anymore. I can't do anymore. And then I got home, and I never forget this. I get a message from this beautiful couple, and they say to me, please contact me. And I'm like, what? I said, look, I really don't know. Like I'm not in a place to talk to anyone at the moment. They said, please contact me. Long story short, this family had got together and purchased a van for me already to go.
No way. No
Wow.
way. Without
I
you knowing?
from to I walked into a broken van from leaving my van on the streets to coming back and having something with air conditioning, which I hadn't had. It might not sound like much, but when you're on the streets, trust me, and you got kids in the back, air conditioning's like a gift,
Yeah.
right? So we had the van with air conditioning. We got blessed with all the signage, everything done. And then it's like every time I've been ready to stop, and I really want to thank all that God's done for me. I'll be honest with you. You know, people look at me sometimes, they feel a bit sorry for me, right? And I don't want that. I was a licensed builder for 25 years, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I had my homes, I had my company, I've had 30, 40, 50 workers at any one given time working for me, right? And
Yeah.
a lot happened to me along the way where everything sort of collapsed. Okay.
Yeah.
I've had a marriage breakdown after 22 years. I've had so many things go wrong, but the one thing I never lost was my faith and my trust in God. In all that, I never lost my faith. And I'll tell you why I didn't lose my faith. Because my miracle, my treasures were my children. The gift, the biggest thing that God could have given me was in front of me all the time. I was working so hard to have it, but it was there. You know what I'm saying? And I think I had to hit rock bottom so that I could be in a place where I could do what God had put on my heart so strongly to do. And that was to get out there. And I thank God for Sister Eunice, who 30 years ago played a massive part in my life. And still to this day, she's my support. She's my spiritual support. Calls me every day. You know, like, listen, brother, don't give up. Trust God. God will supply. I used to be a warrior, like always worry about this and worry about that. And
Mm.
now I just say, Lord, it's in your hands. I'll keep going and do what I can and get these people behind. But I just want to encourage everyone that's listening to this today. We're in a pandemic that we've never seen in our life because man has put us here. Okay, this is not something. This is a man's way of saying that we now have control over everything that you do. And I'm going to say this freely, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to say, don't lose heart. You know, regardless what they try to say to you, regardless what they try to how they try to force us, hold the fort. I saw one of your posts, Romeo, and you had said to people, just hold on, hold the fort. We're nearly there. We're nearly there. And you know,
And we
because of
look,
what happened.
Ricky, I
Yeah,
got to butt in because your words like have hit something in me. Everyone tells me, how do you do it? How do you do it, what I do? And it's your words has made me realize what and I always talk about God. But the truth is, I only do it because I truly believe that as a society, God's been removed from us, man. and we're here because he's no longer present. I hear people of saying, I took the vaccine and if I die, I die. That's what God wants. Well, if you truly believed in God, you wouldn't have taken it in the first place. You wouldn't have worried about COVID at all. It's the strength in God, my belief in God is why I was able to tell my company, you don't tell me what to do. I don't take orders from you. I know God will take care of me. And he has. He has. And it's not the money side. The support network that I've built up around me. I've become fearless. And that's from God.
100%.
2 years ago, I was alone. One man taking on a corrupt government to represent to represent the farmers. 2 years later, I don't like to tell anyone, but I'm surrounded by some of the most powerful people in the economical world, in the law world, in the medical world, who are feeding me information to get it out to the people because I'm they've now who did they come to me because they love me? It's because a powerful, universal, almighty creator whispered in their ear, go to this bloke and help him. He needs help.
Amen.
Right?
And you got the help.
I got guys, honestly, I'm a very humble person, Ricky. I got guys saying to me, how much money you want? How much money you want? I don't want money. Romeo, if you fall down, keep going. If you fall down, we'll pick you up. We're not going to let you fall down. I was even told by one individual, if you are not, he told me, because you are not allowed to get the vaccine. I'm telling you, you are not allowed. That's how blunt it was.
Yeah.
In a park that I can't tell you where, in the middle of nowhere, we shook hands and he goes to me, I'm telling you now, I'll never leave your side. Even if you are going to take the vaccine and give up, I won't allow you. You can't take it.
Well, you know what, bro? Honestly, I'll tell you something, Romeo. From the very beginning of this unknown vaccine, that they have this whatever they want to tell you, whatever is in it. I've already looked into all of that myself as well. But I've been in the face. I've been on the streets every single day. Every single day. And yes, sometimes I put a mask on because I'm working around people and I social distance the fellas so they feel safer, right? Because out of respect to the people I'm looking after, right?
That's the only reason. That's the only reason I put a mask on.
But I tell you now, and my kids can tell you, I'm not ignorant to things out there, but I'm not scared at all. I'm not scared, bro. I'm not scared at all. I've been attacked with knives, bats, bottles. But honestly, I've been attacked by like it's some of these people that have been off their heads. It's like I've seen the devil face to face. You understand what I mean? And it does not worry me the slightest.
Isn't it funny how when we were growing up, we used to think like, you see a rich kid, for example, okay? And you'd be like, man, why couldn't my dad be like, this bloke's dad and, he's got nice shoes and mind you, my parents provide, like, dad did make it, but in those, between the ages of when I was born to the age of about 14, basically we played in the gutters. But this is now what I've realized, how strong we were made by the way we grew up. Now I'll go to the park with my son, and he's 15, 16. And my instinct is to scale the park, scope the park for any trouble.
Yeah.
Because that's what we did as kids. I mean, we scoped the park for syringes before playing rugby league.
Man,
You know,
bro, my
kids
first
these
push
days
bike
don't have that.
I put together with different parts of different bikes.
Mm.
I had Harley Davidson handlebars on my first push bike with a massive front wheel like this and this little wheel on the back. And when my kid said to me, he says, Dad, you know, I bought him a bike, and he's like, "Oh, Dad, thanks. What sort of bike did you have?" I'm like, "You don't want to know the bike. You wouldn't jump on the bike I did." But everything that we went through, honestly, the reality, everything we've been through has built us up for now, for what
Honestly,
we're
Ricky,
going through now.
how many times did you get jumped going home?
Oh, how many times they tried to jump me? How
I
many
mean,
times they tried to jump me?
yeah,
What a
right?
mistake.
Walking, walking from Livingston Road to the corner of Wardell Road, the boundary of Dulwich and Marrickville. I'd have 3 punch ups, and that's only a kilometre, no
That's
more,
just
less
going
than
down
a
the road.
kilometre, right? So now
Bro,
these government officials, after spending maybe 13 years of my life walking from the corner of Livingston Road and to the corner of Wardell Road, punching on 3 different punch ups. I'm scared of COVID.
bro, listen, I've lived Auburn, Macquarie Fields, Ashfield, Burong. I've lived in New Jersey, Patterson overseas, the
Yeah.
Bronx, and we moved Miami. We lived in Florida. Like so, I've had a bit of a mix, right? Born in Bankstown. Now, listen, I can honestly say, and the people that know me, all the people that have grown up with me have seen, I've always been a bit of a clicker, like a bit of a machine. Unfortunately, everywhere I went, you faced a different type of discrimination, and that's why I don't discriminate anyone, right? Your big nose wog, your wog, your wog.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
names that came out, you wouldn't believe. But what it did was it shaped me. And I realized today when I'm on the streets and I'm going through the tunnels, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and I hear a guy on ice going crazy, ready to rip at something. And my kid says to me, Dad, don't go down there. And I'm like, it's okay. I'll be back. You know what I mean? It's like in your head. And you're going to tell me that I've got to worry about something because I've got flu. Listen, how many people, it's amazing. It's amazing how the COVID has killed all the other sicknesses, right? So you got to think how strong the COVID is. There's no
It's
talk
killed
about.
everything. Hold on. It's killed every single sickness except homelessness.
That's exactly right. It can't fix that. It
Right?
can't fix it. You
You
know
can
why it
enjoy
can't fix.
a homeless person till kingdom come. He's still going to be homeless. This is the corruption of the government.
Bro, look, it really does. It really is to the point. Listen, I just got a call today from one of the fellas, one of the young fellas, Josh. I've been working with him on the streets for like 20 years, right? Before I even started doing stuff on the streets. He was part of my youth and so on. Anyway, calls me up every single time I'm on the city. I talk to him. He's this, that is all good. He just got double jabbed. Double jabbed. He's now in isolation because he's tested positive.
Oh, no way.
How do you explain that?
And that's the thing I want to talk to you about, Romeo, because you get this all the time. Ricky, like you heard all his story, you heard what he does, you know what he does, and just the last few times now he's put up posts about personal stories about what he's had in the past with like swine flu jabs and stuff like that. He was affected by it, like physically. He was out for a long time. Him and his son as well. His son was out for 2 weeks. Or he'll explain it, but also he's been censored on Facebook. Anytime he puts a post up trying to talk about what his experiences are with stuff, his videos have been chopped off. So,
Yeah.
Ricky, can you talk to us about like um, first your experience with the swine flu jab that you had and what happened to you?
100%. Listen, I was saying to Eddie before, I was never anti-vaccine, right? Because as a kid, your mum take your doctor, tell you take this, you take that, right? But I was always against sort of medicine myself personally. But when the swine flu first came out, they said, you got to get vaccinated. My doctor said, listen, all of you are in perfect health, and now's the time to get the vaccination, right? So me trusting my doctor, I got the vaccine. My kids got it. All of us got sick. My daughter even got sick, but my little one ended up in hospital a couple of weeks. And myself, 6 months, I could barely move, man. I was running a building company, and we're talking about a guy that never gets the flu, never gets. I was down, bro. I was down so bad. So anyway, we couldn't take the second part of the vaccine because it comes in two parts. You take one jab, and then you got to take another jab, right? So my personal thing for me was I wanted to make sure that if this was something I needed to take, is it safe? Is it safe?
Mm.
And so I start asking the people around me that are taking the vaccines, like, hey, listen, are you okay? One's got blood clot problems. Another one's got running nose, like bleeding nose from nose cut. Another one's been out of work now for 3 weeks, but no pay. And when have you ever seen a vaccine or any medicine come out where they give you indemnity? Indemnity, that means they give immunity up until 2024. Nobody gets blamed. Are you serious?
No liability.
I'm a
Yeah, no.
builder. I was a
Mm.
builder for 25 years. Imagine if I came to build your home and said, brother, it's going to cost you 500,000. But if anything goes wrong, you got water damage, the foundation's full, the roof caves in on you while you're sleeping, you can't come to me for it.
Yeah. No
Imagine
insurance,
if I
no
did that
mercy.
to you. That's reality, right? So
Mm.
they give you this vaccine, but say, hey, listen, try it, see how it goes, but we're not responsible. It doesn't
I
make sense.
I have no like. I don't really care. I get a lot of people trying to justify why they took the vaccine, and quite frankly, I don't care. You don't need to justify yourself. It actually pisses me off when they try to justify it because it's not that I disagree with what they did. It's quite frankly, I don't care. It's none of my business.
Yeah, look,
It,
if people take it or don't take it, it's their choice, right?
at the end of the day, it's even if even if COVID is the most deadliest disease on earth, virus, I still want to decide where I want to where I want to either fight it or
Yeah,
not. It's my
Yeah.
decision. It's my
that's
life.
exactly right. Right.
They
I'm
even
gonna
give
die.
That's
them.
I'm
what it
gonna
should
die. I
come
don't
down
care.
to.
I don't. That's my whole issue with the whole thing. I don't fall into the conspiracy theorist. At the end of the day, I want to decide for myself whether I want
Yeah.
to take it on or not. And then they tell you, no, you're selfish. If you take the vaccine, the imbeciles that used to say it from the beginning, if you
Look,
take it, then you won't spread it. And now they're telling you, well, you will spread it and you will get it. So
it
that
makes no
props up
difference.
my argument. Makes no difference. So let me decide whether I want it or not.
Well,
It's
look,
my choice.
I, I've had people say to me, Rick, because I put posts up. I've shared a few of your posts. I've shared a few things, and I've been getting reported. Right? Okay. I share on TikTok. I share on Instagram, and I keep sharing it. Right? I share Craig Kelly. Craig. I don't care. Right? I share it because for me, to be silent is the worst thing I could do. If for me to be, I've always said to my kids, if you do nothing, if you see somebody getting attacked, if you see someone getting hurt, and you just sit back and watch it, you might as well have done it yourself.
That's right.
Mm.
True. So, for me, just to be that voice and get out there, and you know what? I don't want to be like everybody else, bro. I was never designed to be the fish that swam down the stream. I was meant to be the salmon that swims upstream to spawn that egg. I'd rather be going the other way. what's common isn't always right. You know what I mean?
That's
So
right.
what everybody wants to sort of say, oh, if we do this, we'll get back to normal. We'll get back. You will never get back to normal. Let me just hit that with anything. We will never get back to normal. There are families up until last week. On Tuesday, when I spoke to a mum, she lost a 17-year-old son to suicide. We've had 3 more kids last fortnight from the volunteers, the families and friends that have committed suicide. We've had fathers that have gone left, right, and centre. We will never be the same, you know, because even if we go back to the same, these people will never have them children back. They will never have their
Yeah.
father back. They will never have. Do you understand? The damage is so deep that this, you know, it's a criminal offence to destroy a family and not take responsibility for it, regardless. So somebody has to take that responsibility. You know what I mean? And until we see people, look, my grandparents were Armenian, right? And they went through genocide, right? It's only 10 years ago where they registered as genocide, right? Up until then, it, no, nobody really listened. Nobody really
That's
cared, right?
why, that's why I'm so disappointed in Gladys Berejiklian.
Exactly.
Oh,
In the step she,
100%.
she's basically she's basically kicked her ancestors in the mouth,
Mm.
stomped
100,
on their heads, and said, "Huh, I don't care. What she's doing to the New South Wales people is genocide." Same thing. You
100%,
think
bro.
you're going, no, you bastards did this to us, did this to my grandparents back in the day. I'm not going to
Yeah,
allow this. Not on my watch.
no
But
way,
no,
no way.
she's doing exactly what they all did.
That's exactly right. Look, there's no difference. There's no difference. Listen, control, when you start to take a person's choice, freedom of choice, to be able to make a decision for his family, you've taken control. You become a narcissistic. We become a communist country. It's simple as that. That's what happens. It becomes communism, right? You can't talk. I can't even post some of the things on thing because they censor it. I should be able to talk about what's on my heart. And people that have followed me for years anyway know that I'm passionate about what I do, right? I get up, I'll drive. If you called me up now and said, brother, you know, I've got a family that's struggling, they got no food. You think I'm just gonna hang up the phone on you? I don't even have to know you, do you understand? I'll turn around and I'll be there sending messages to everyone I can. Hey guys, we've got a family that need help. You know what I mean?
Mm.
This is where we've got to start looking at the people that are in power. We need people that are really empathetic when it comes to families, when it comes to children, when it comes to the elderly. You know, the amount of elderly people, I take food out constantly. Like I love the elderly people. I love the ones, it breaks my heart, the ones that are isolated, they've got no family, no friends, and so on. Yeah. But, you know, the more I get out there, the more I see, even though sometimes I feel like, look, am I doing enough? You know what I mean? Sometimes I get that too, you know. We're coming up to 10 years in January, in October the 6th. It'll be our 10th year on the street, right? Now, in 10 years, we have honestly taken out over 1 million meals. Over 1 million meals. We have put thousands of nights off the street where we've taken people off the streets, clothed them, put them off the streets, banned them. We've helped take out thousands of snack packs, like toiletry packs, um, haircuts, dinners. We've taken busloads of people to dinner. We'll go in there with a whole bus, pick up people off the street and take them to a restaurant. You know what I mean? Like, and so they can eat with dignity and so on. And you know, my biggest heartbeat. That's something that I'm believing, and I pray that God opens that door soon. I want to have a little coffee shop
Every,
restaurant.
everybody, Rick, needs to understand that our politicians, these elected, corrupt sons of bitches, are so disconnected
Yeah,
from us that a person like Barnaby Joyce, who was
the leader of the Nationals, Barney B. Joyce. This is how disconnected. I'm using him as an example. He was demoted from being the leader of the Nationals because he cheated on his wife with the secretary.
Mm-hmm.
So that tells you that how does he follow the Constitution if he can't even follow the 10 Commandments?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So he was demoted. A few months later, he did an interview in the paper and on TV, and he said, on the politician's wage that I'm receiving now, I feel like a pensioner. I can't even survive. You know how much he was on? $260,000 a year. He said that's how these dirty, filthy scumbuckets don't even understand
Everyday
what it
people
is to struggle.
100%.
He said he couldn't survive on $260,000 a year. He couldn't survive.
Even hockey, I think hockey, the Premier Hockey, whatever his name was, he said about the same thing. He goes, something along the lines, I can't survive on $1,000 or something, or $2,000 a week or something like that. And that's how disconnected you are. And like you got someone like Ricky that with the just the least that he has, he can do so much.
What can you do, Ricky, with $260,000 a year guaranteed? What can you do?
Right. You know what I could do with 200,000? I can guarantee over 2,000 people a week will be fed. Families, people off the street. I can guarantee. What we do with what we have now is unbelievable. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
With the little that we have, every week we're reaching 500,000 people at any one given time. Do you know what I mean? How do you do it?
You know, Gladys Berejiklian, why we are in a state of emergency?
Yeah.
It's not because of COVID. It's not because she's trying to push the vaccination rate. No. It's because the Liberal parties are eating each other on the inside and they want her gone. And the only way they can get her out is by serving her on Parliament floor. So Hazard, that demonic human being with no soul,
100%.
advised her to put the state in emergency and shut us out. That way she can't be served with the papers as her own political party doesn't get rid of her, and she can keep her $8,900 job a week. He can keep his $7,000 or whatever it was, and Chant can keep it. And Gladys, all she has to do on January 1st, she retires and gets $400,000 for the rest of her life.
Yeah, that's
what it is. It's the retirement. It's the money. It's the money they give themselves, and no one can say anything about it.
But the damage,
exactly,
you're no different. You know what? You're no different to a drug dealer. Seriously, you're no different to a drug dealer. You might as well sit there and say, you know what? I sell this. This family's lost their son twice. This one's lost their son twice. But I'm still reaping the rewards. Come on. You know what I mean?
Doesn't matter. Our kids are stuck at home, can't go to school, right? You know how many messages and I get from teenagers telling me that I'm thinking about killing myself?
Yeah,
it's phenomenal.
Hey guys, the girl in the paper today, she was 13 years old, very successful. She was a very good sportsperson, a sportswoman, and she was only 13. And she had an appointment in 2 weeks' time to go to a psychiatrist, and I think it was a week before the appointment happened, they cancelled on her, and she hung herself, and she committed suicide. It was in the Daily Telegraph today.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to. I'm sorry, I don't mean to sound like a prick, but anybody in charge of a state must have children.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
Because if Gladys had children,
yes,
and had to go home every day and see them stuck at home, I wonder how long she'd be. But she doesn't know what it's like to have a child.
What about Dan Andrews?
She doesn't know the responsibility. She doesn't know anything, right? Having these fuck-ass teachers, and I don't care, I'm supporting the teachers, but having these fuck-ass teachers sending me emails telling me your kid didn't log in, and I tell them straight, I go, they're not motivated. They're miserable.
Right. Well, I'll tell you something. I didn't sign up to be a teacher, okay? I teach my kids the basic things of life. I want to teach them how to be better at things, understand about authority and so on. But I didn't sign up to be a teacher, man, right? But even myself, like I sit there, and this kid here, he spends more time. It's more time telling me that he's done all his schoolwork, and then I get a message saying, "Oh, sorry, your son missed a few subjects and this and that. What do you want me to do?" You know what I mean?
Yeah,
What do you want me to do? Like the stress is put on him, and then I had to get. I got contacted. Which look, I thank school for contacting me, but I've had the school psychologist contact to make sure everything's okay, to make sure that. But what's okay, man? What's really okay?
You can help a homeless person, and we can't even help our own children.
Mm.
Like, remember when we were single, before we got married, before we had kids? It was work hard. Yeah, I'll buy a Ferrari. I want a nice house. I. The second you got
That's right.
married, it became we. The second you had a child, it became I want them to have the
Yeah,
house.
that's
I
right.
want them to have the car. I want them to have a good education. Your dreams are thrown out the window. Your dream is their dream, right?
100%.
These politicians like Gladys that's got no kids, she doesn't know what that feels like. So it's all about I. She doesn't know what it means to be them. Everything's
Yeah.
them.
Exactly right.
Selfless.
That's
Not,
exactly right.
yeah.
And you know what? I think at the end of the day, I'm praying. Look, somebody said to me, let's pray for the government. Well, I'm praying. I'm praying that God puts the right people in play. This is what I'm praying. I'm praying that at the end of the day, that brother, Craig Kelly just keeps going forward with what
You
is
know what
hard for
I'm
the
praying
people.
for?
Yeah.
You know what I'm praying for? I'm
Sure.
praying for the same thing that happened after Jesus Christ on the cross said, "Forgive them, Father, for they do not know what they do." And then the temple collapsed. It was torn
Yeah,
apart.
100%.
Yeah.
It was
100%.
ripped.
The curtain was ripped. Yeah.
So I'd love to say my last breath, forgive them, Father, for they don't know what they do. And then every single parliament house in this country is hit with lightning and earthquakes and crumbles to the ground on top of them and buries them alive. That's what I pray for.
And you can tell that, and just like you were saying, Romeo and Ricky, like about them having families, like even this decision to let the unvaccinated out later than the vaccinated, like on December 1st, that the unvaccinated free, that is just creating a separation too, because for 2 months we're going to be watching unvaccinated people, vaccinated people partying or doing whatever on the streets and trying to like rub it in the faces of the unvaccinated, and there'll be a divide. It's like, are
It's the
they
point, mate.
purposely social engineering this so then when people, because you got to remember, guys, when you go back into society, as much as you think you're ready, you might not be ready to have this like interaction
Companies
with
aren't
people.
stupid, Eddie. Restaurants aren't stupid. Take Reche's, for example.
Yeah, shout out to Rashays.
Right?
Hey, he's champion. What a champion. I shared his video the
All
other
those
day.
vaccinated people rock up to Reche's and say, "Can I get a Caesar salad, please, and a glass of water, tap water?"
Mm.
You get the Wogs, the Italians, the Greeks, the Lebos, the Serbians. They walk in, they go, "Yeah, I'll take everything off the menu. Just dump it on the table, bro.
Yeah,
Dump
exactly.
it on the table."
Support
That's
Rami.
exactly
Support
right.
Rami. Yeah,
No,
100%. And I
you're
think,
right, but it's true, but it's exactly right, man. Look,
oh, but
you
that's
know
what I
what?
think, Romeo. Romeo, look, man, like you got so many people with so much firsthand experience. Like, just imagine, Rami becomes your business section in a business sector, the business ministry, or something along those lines in the UAP. Like, you got so many people firsthand have experience that want to help, that have the heart to
Mate,
help.
this is the first political party that is actually pushing for a multicultural government
Yes,
that's open, and the first political party really that we actually want to elect the First Nation people. We want them to be
exactly.
severely
Involved.
involved in the government with our policy,
100%.
right? We want them deeply involved, not to have them virtue signaling. Oh, look, we've got a You know, we've
Yeah.
got a First Nation
Yeah.
gentleman here. No. We want people in positions of power. Let's go out throughout history, okay? Let's look out throughout Australian politics and see the actual racism, right?
Yes.
How many First Nation people is a foreign minister? Is an ambassador for Australia in a country? Is a
No.
treasurer? Is a minister of industry? How many? They're always in the background, somewhere in the back. Really, they're really not given any power. It's just like, yeah,
That's
we've got.
exactly right. I said that a
They,
while back too.
it's all bullshit, right?
No,
They're
you're
all.
right.
I don't care. I'll
100%.
say it straight. Like, I'm surprised Gladys Berejiklian is the premier, because who's standing next to her? An Anglo-Saxon bloke. Who's the doctor next to her? An Anglo-Saxon chick.
Yes.
Right? I'm not going to beat around the bush. We're the first
100%.
people. We want Christians, Muslims, Jews, blacks, whites, orange, pink, purple. We don't care.
100%.
Come in. If you're qualified, if you know what you're doing, and most importantly, we want to put people in a position where I'm not going to stick a lawyer to be Minister of Health. What the fuck does a lawyer know
Exactly.
about health?
Doesn't make sense, man. Yeah.
Hmm?
That's exactly
I'm
right.
not, right? Even a doctor like Dr. Chan, what have you done? What have you done?
Mhm.
Who have you helped? What have you done? What? You're a doctor on a piece of paper, but you're really not a doctor of medicine. You're not a doctor of healing. You're an imbecile that pissed off to England for a while, came back and worked her way through the ranks. That's what you are. You're not a doctor.
Mm.
And
How
if
did,
you
how
look
did
at
they
it,
get away with that? How did they get away with that? How did she get that position? Like, how did she, like,
wait
why
your
isn't there a
turn.
bunch of doctors?
Because you wait your turn. That's all you have to do in politics. Wait your
It is,
turn. You start
yeah.
off in the mailroom and then get lifted up after that. As soon as somebody above you gets lifted up, and you wait your turn. And if you look at all of them, every single one of these sons of bitches whores have not done anything for society whatsoever except push paper and wait their turn to step up in the ladder. That's it. They've done
Yeah,
nothing.
That's
Exactly.
true, but you know what? 100%, bro.
And like you said about the
Unfortunately-
Aboriginal, like what they've done to the Aboriginal culture and what they've done to the people, it's like, look how long that problem has like been around, and how long what they've done to them, like through like hundreds of years that they came here, and then they haven't even. All they've said is sorry. All they've said is sorry.
Yeah,
There's
big-
no.
Yeah,
That's it. There's
yeah,
no.
but as soon
There's
as they
no.
said sorry, as soon as the fella said sorry, he got sacked. If you don't remember,
Yeah.
as soon as he
Yeah.
got sacked. But the problem is, it's true, man. For years, they've oppressed, suppressed, depressed, and they've isolated people constantly based on their race, religion, culture. And you know, the problem is, we are visitors in this country. Like, this is my home. I was born here in Bankstown. I've lived here, and I've got so much respect for the First Nation people like you wouldn't believe. I've got family members that are part Aboriginal. I've got family that are part Aboriginal. And the truth being said, right? What have they been given? Where have they been respected? Where have they been respected? You know what
I found out the other day? You know, I was speaking to the elders. You know what I found out? The people of the First Nation, like the First Nation, right, are the true symbol of equality. You know what they told me? They said when Captain Cook foot touched the sand at Kurnell, he became a member of the First People.
Mm-hmm.
They accepted him straight away because it's in their culture. They don't have racism in their culture.
That's right.
It's not who they are. They go, even the enemy. We didn't know he was the enemy. But the second that he touched the soil, Australian soil, or whatever the country was at the time,
Yeah.
They accepted him in. They told me that these explorers that truly were going out to find more land for Mother England, they would help them in the bush, keep them alive so they don't die, because they said to me, it's our duty. We knew what they were going there to do, to claim more land, take a land from us. But in our culture, we cannot but help. We're not allowed to. We have to help. I couldn't believe what I was hearing.
That's crazy,
The
eh?
very people that racism, they stole their
Came
children.
against.
Do you know there was a law at one particular time in Australian history that you could shoot and kill a First Nation person just because you saw him?
Yeah.
You could shoot and kill him.
That's sick, eh? That's sick.
And then the government wonder why, like they think they've got no blood on their hand or anything like that. Fine, okay, history is history, whatever. But now we're at this point, and then now with this like new like rules or whatever, they're trying to change the society. There's an arrogance behind it. There's no two sides to it. There's only one side. There's no bunch of doctors. There's only one doctor. There's not the ministers. Like for example, like you said, Gladys needs a family. If she thought for 1 second, okay, I'm gonna get the vaccinated to go first in October, does she not think, oh, this is gonna cause division? Does she not think that?
100%. Look,
You know what I mean? Like
Not
it's
not
in,
division with me, Eddie. Not division with
no,
me.
I know what you're. I know you,
I
but I'm
don't
trying to
play her
say,
games. I don't
yeah, no,
play her.
for sure.
hey,
But what I'm trying to
hey,
say
listen,
is that,
I get out every day.
Yeah.
I honestly, I'm oblivious to the 5K, 10K, 20K. I get out every day. I do what I do. I serve the people the best I can. At the end of the day, if I have to get arrested for it, so be it.
What's your experience with the coppers now?
Now, look, myself, I got to say, they haven't bothered me from day one, okay?
Yeah.
What they did do originally when I first went out, when the first COVID hit, they said to me, we don't want you out here, right? And I said to them, nice and friendly, I said, will you give them somewhere to go and guarantee me that they got food and I'll stop coming?
Yeah.
They couldn't do that. And to this day, I haven't had any. Come here, Baba. To this day, they haven't been able to stop. And look, I don't think that they initially want to stop me doing what I'm doing, because I'm not taking anything from people, right? I'm
Yeah.
delivering a service of love, hope, and just trying to help these guys get through. If they were to arrest me, shame on them. Shame on them, bro. Like, that would be the lowest act they could do, because they'd have to arrest my kids as well.
Let me
Yeah.
tell you something. The coppers, just like every profession, there's good ones and there's bad ones.
Mm.
But there are more good ones than there are bad ones. But the media only want to show you the bad ones.
100%.
Hide, okay? Why do you think the police commissioner came out and said, we will not be going into
Oh.
restaurants because
That's right.
his people have told him, mate, we're over this shit. And I speak to a lot of coppers. They're over
Yeah.
this shit. It's not
They're
my
over
job.
it too.
That's all I hear from them. It's not my job.
Yeah.
It's not my job. It's not my job to go monitor a hotel. It's not my job to pull somebody over and ask him, have you left the area? It's not my job. My job is to catch criminals. My job is to catch people speeding. My job is to bring peace to make sure everybody's has got peace and safe.
You know what they should do? If they really want to make a difference, if they want to really help families and people on that, we've got a 10% ice pandemic in this country. That means
Yes.
people that are addicted to ice, that I've seen personally. I've been to like 30 funerals where people have lost their sons, their daughters to ice addictions. They've hurt their families. I've even been to families where they've murdered people, right? Because of their addiction. Why don't they lock down the state, get rid of every single drug dealer, do something valuable for 2 weeks, force them all to get out and sit, clean the country? I'd be all for it. I'd be all for it. But, even we're coming to summer, right? If they want to lock down the country and get rid of the mosquitoes, I'd be all for it as well. Because I can't stand the little buggers, right? I'm serious. Wait, the amount of times I'm sitting there I can't see the little buggers. But I would be in for that too. But seriously, to lock down the country and to oppress and depress and really destroy families from within, because that's what they've done. They've destroyed families from within. From inside, they see the breakdown. And what family can stand without the captain at the ship? Really, at the end of the day, God has given responsibility to the father.
The captain of our ship wears a Hawaiian shirt and fucks off every time we've got a problem.
That's exactly right.
The bloke, I seen a homeless person walking with a Havana thong. The bloke gets Kmart ones. He's got money. The homeless got more taste and more style and more dignity to wear nice Havana thongs. The bloke's at Kmart, the freaking $2 thong, and he's sitting there with his Hawaii. I'm so upset. I'm so upset, man. I can't wear any more of my Hawaiian shirts after seeing what I saw.
The colours, eh? It's funny because I've been
every single time we have a problem, the bloke pisses off.
All the time.
He Father's Day, we weren't allowed to celebrate with families.
Yeah.
And he pisses off from Canberra, comes down, right? Takes a detour, goes sees his mistress, and then goes sees his wife and the kids, and pisses off to Canberra again. He can do that. He can do that, the Hawaiian wearing Hawaiian son of a bitch. But we can't. I can't, go visit my mate or wish him happy Father's Day or visit my cousin. I can't do that. They can't. I can't. But he can. He can.
You know what? I'll let you in on a little secret. I pretty much did everything that they said not to. But you know what? What can I say, mate? End of the day.
Me too.
I was out there. I went out there. I visited as many people as I could to make sure they're okay.
Yeah.
And that was my thing. But listen, guys, I'm gonna put these little ones to sleep soon.
Same here.
Let's wrap it up.
I'm
but
totally
Ricky,
blessed.
I want to go out with you. I want to go out with you one night.
Anytime, come out. I'll take you around, take you through the whole city. We'll start off Wentworth Park, work our way through the whole city, bro.
I'm so
100%.
glad you got I'm so glad you got an air conditioning van now. I'm so glad.
Oh, it's the best. I said my daughter's the best, eh? Mate,
Hey, Ricky.
you would have been burning at 40-degree heat coming out with me, man.
I'll
but listen,
100%.
Ricky, where can people
message me, we'll stay in contact, 100%.
Yeah, 100%. I'll keep
Eddie,
in contact. Where can people reach you? How can they donate money to you? I got the website underneath here, but is there anywhere they can message you if they got food to donate or new clothes to
Okay, look, they can inbox me on Facebook on the Swag Family Sydney page on Facebook, or www.swagfamilysydney.com.au, and they can get my phone number on the site and call out, and send a message as well. Most importantly, you'll see us around. Like, it's unbelievable the impact we make on the streets out there.
Eddie.
So
yeah, man.
Yep.
Why don't you come with us? Bring a camera and do a sort of like
I'll go down 100%. Let's go. I'm down.
Sounds mad.
Yeah. And
we'll
you can
organise it for sure.
Upload it on your channel and let people see exactly
100%.
what it does. We'll have a laugh with the people.
Yeah, and I'll try to go live there as well. We'll go live.
Yeah,
let's do that.
For sure.
Yeah, 100%. Let's do it.
We'll organise it for a Sunday. If you guys are free, we can do a Sunday.
Yeah.
Nice. We'll get out there. I'll take you
Romeo,
through.
do you have any last questions you want to ask him? Any last statements you want to say to anyone or anything like that?
I just want everybody to not support me anymore. I want them to support Ricky. Yeah, that's what that's it. Just like, I want to wake up tomorrow morning and see
lose all your followers.
Ricky's got 150,000 followers on social media, and I got no one. That'll make my day.
God bless you, bro. But I'd like to thank you, Ed, honestly, for stepping out and bringing us together. God bless you, brother. I want to thank the brother Romeo for what you do, even though you don't feel like it's massive, brother. I pray for that Australian party to go forward and bring some real good fruit off this tree. Yeah. And most of all, I just want to thank everybody that tunes in and listens to this. I pray a blessing over your family. I pray that God will
come as well.
Who's that?
I might get Craig Kelly if we do it this Sunday.
Come down.
Yeah, I'll tell him to come down. He needs to exercise.
100%. Eddie, make sure you pass my number on to the bro.
I
Get
will.
them
I'll
all
pass
out there, right?
Yeah, 100%. I'll pass it to Romeo. We'll go. We'll organize it.
All
But
right.
to all
Well,
of
are
you
you
guys,
around?
much
Are you
love.
this
Thank you
Sunday? Are
very
you
much for
around,
your time. Appreciate it.
Ricky? Are you around
It's
this
got
Sunday?
down a 3-seater, Ricky, at the front.
It's got 2 at the front and it's got all seats at the back, like plus the
Oh,
section for a barbecue and that or
okay.
whatever.
Because I thought if we bring Craig, we'll be like those 3 sumo wrestlers in the Hyundai truck. Remember that commercial?
I remember that one. That'd be good, bro.
No, guys,
100%.
thank
You
you
let
so
me
much.
know.
100%. Thank you so much for joining the live, man. I really appreciate it, Romeo. I really appreciate it, Ricky.
No
Guys, you know what these guys do? Go check out their pages on Facebook, Instagram. Keep supporting, get the word out there. And thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Romeo. Thank you, Ricky.
Thank you, guys. Have a
Appreciate
great
it.
night.
God bless you guys, eh?
God
I'll
bless
talk to
you.
you soon. Eddie, hook it
Yeah,
up. Let's get
I'll
it
I'll,
hook
done.
I'll message you. Don't worry. I'll get it done.
Cool.
I'll see you soon.
Good
See you,
night.
mate.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Stay blessed.
You too.
See you guys. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And if you can, like, subscribe, and share. Get this video out there and let them know that there's people out there that want to do some good things, but they just don't have the means or the monies to do it. So check out the website. It's on the bottom here, swagfamilysydney.com.au. Check him out on Instagram as well. You can direct message him. He's very responsive. He really wants to help out, and he has been helping out. But if you really want to help out, hit him up, and I'm sure he'll accept it. It would be really good if you could if you got clothes to donate, make sure that they pretty good, like as in good condition, or if it's not, like brand new, because these people that we're giving it to, they're human as well, and we've got to show them some dignity, show them some support, and let them know that they're part of the society as much as all of us. So guys, thank you so much. I know I didn't talk much this session, but I know that they gave a lot of information. Hopefully you guys will get it and spread it. Yeah, it is Jesus' time. Hopefully he comes back soon as well. God bless you guys. Thank you for believing and keep the faith. This is Good Smoke. Thank you for listening.